Welcome back everybody. Tabletop Toki here, and in today's video we'll be doing a solo playthrough of Harmonies. During the course of the playthrough, I'll give a tutorial about how the base game is played, and be sure you stick around to the end of the video where I share my thoughts about the game in general. A huge shout out to our sponsor, Noble Knight Games, who provided me with a copy of Harmonies to share with y'all here today. You can click the link down in the description to check out other games that they have for sale, and any purchases directly go towards helping support the channel, so thank you in advance. But without further ado, let's get started. Here we have a game of Harmonies set up and ready to play. Over the course of the game, we'll be drafting tokens which represent different landscapes and placing them onto our personal board. At the end of the game, we'll score points based on the landscapes we placed, and animals which will inhabit different types of terrain. So for setup, we're going to start by placing out the central board on its appropriate side, multiplayer or solo, and filling each of the empty circles with 3 tokens each from our pouch. You'll then take a personal board and a reference card. The animal cubes can be placed off to the side, and you'll shuffle up the animal card deck, dealing out 3 instead of the normal 5 for a multiplayer game. If you want to try some variants, you can also flip your board over for a different side that scores uniquely, and your reference card will flip to match. Or you can also play using the nature spirit cards, which we'll be using today. They provide you with unique scoring opportunities for different types of terrain at the end of the game. On your turn, you'll perform 1 mandatory action, and you also have 2 optional actions that you can take. The mandatory action that you'll do is to draft a set of the 3 tiles and to place them onto your personal board. They can go on any empty spaces, and some types of tokens can stack on top of each other. For example, these grass tokens can stack on top of stumps in order to make trees. Mountains can stack on top of mountains, and buildings can stack on top of other buildings, stone, or stumps in order to create some verticality to your landscape. At any time on your turn, you can also interact with one of the animal cards. You'll see that at the top of the player board, we have 4 paw symbols representing the 4 slots you have for animals. Provided that you have at least 1 empty slot, you can draft an animal and fill it with cubes to represent that animal type. Now, during a solo game, you can optionally instead discard 1 card and replace it with a new one going into the next round. It's important to note again that there are only 4 slots available though. So once you have 4 animal cards out, the only way to free up a slot is to place all 3 of these animals on the board, which is your next optional action. So once you have this configuration lined up on your board, let's say for example, I have a prairie and 2 stone at level 1 each. They can be rotated any which way, but I will be placing one of my little foxes here on that last stone in the sequence. Now, unfortunately, I can't have multiple foxes there, but I could, for example, if I got some other tokens placed here, I could use that token again to score a separate fox, which will be placed on the mountain adjacent to it. And you can place out as many animal cubes as you want on your turn. So that's a little bit different than the 1 card interaction that you can have in a given turn. The game will continue until one of 2 endgame triggers happens. Number 1 is that you run out of tokens in your bag. Number 2 is that you have 2 or less empty spaces left on your player board. At that point, you'll finish the round and count up your points. Trees will get points based on how tall they are. They need to be topped with a grass piece with optional stumps underneath. Mountains will score based on their height, but they do need to be adjacent to at least 1 other mountain. Prairies will score as long as they're in groups of 2 or more tokens. Buildings will score based on how many different types of terrain are around them. And again, buildings do have to be a height of 2 with a stone, a wood, or another building underneath them. The river will score based on the number of tokens in a single line. It does not have to be a straight line, but they do have to be touching one another. And in addition to that, you'll receive points for your placed animal. For example, I've placed 2 of these, it would be worth 9 points. And if I place all 3, it would be worth 16. And finally, you'll get points for your unique objectives if you're playing with the nature spirit cards. One other thing that's important to note, different from the multiplayer game, once you draft a set of 3 in the solo game and finish your turn, the rest of the tokens will actually be discarded and you'll refill the entire board. That's all we need to know to get started. So we're going to start by selecting one of our 2 cards here. So we have this stag, which scores trees. And again, these cards are scoring in addition to the base scoring for that type of terrain. We also have the lion, which scores for prairies. Now I do see that 2 cards need prairies and 1 needs trees. So I think we're going to go with this lion, and that spirit will be marked with this special clear cube. In order to get these additional scorings for prairies of size 1, 2, or 3, we will have to place this lion out onto our board before the end of the game. And it does take up one of our 4 animal slots. Okay, so I think we're ready to begin. I do see a prairie out there, but there aren't a lot of other great options. I think we will take this and then we'll stack up buildings. And we want to have some room for some different prairies. Let's maybe put this building here because I'm not sure where we're going to need buildings. I do like this fox card, the fact that it has the 2 prairies, actually the flamingos even better because we want those groups of 2 prairies. So I'm going to take that card and place out 3 flamingos, or rather 3 cubes representing those 3 flamingos. And then we're going to refill here. These 6 tokens will be discarded and then we will refill for the next turn. Okay, and it looks like we have some wolves that want to be on prairies next to a tall tree rather, with 2 stumps underneath. Okay. Oh, so we could get a tree going, but I also see some river tiles and a prairie, which is very attractive for what we have going on here. So I do think we will have to take those. I'm going to place this prairie here, and then we can actually place these blue tokens on either side. Maybe we can wrap around to our river and we can place our flamingos. So 2 prairies with a river, little triangle there, boom. And we also have an additional one here. And again, you can place out as many animals as you want on a turn. I'm wondering, our prairies unfortunately are surrounded by river right now. So I don't think that this is the best option for us. I think instead we'll take the little fennec foxes and replace the card here. Now, normally you would put them out this way, but for the sake of the recording, I think that this layout works a little bit better with the table space and the angle of the camera. All right, and we'll get rid of these 6 tokens again. That's different from the multiplayer game. Those tokens just refresh when a player takes 3, just that slot refreshes. Oh wow, we have a lot of prairies and a lot of stone. Oh man, we really need to make a tree for our lion to rest under though. So let's see, we could take the single prairie. It seems really good to take this though. And for our lion, we do get 10 points if we have a prairie of size 3 or larger. So I think we'll do this to get our final flamingo, which is worth 16 points. So this will go off to the side to our square area, and we have another slot open. This last prairie we want to break up because prairies of size 2 or more are 5 points. So again, this 3 is good if we can get the line because then it's 3 points, but there's not a whole lot else going on. So maybe we'll put a prairie up here and try to get a 3 or a 2 that we can use with our fox later on. And then we'll plan on putting our tree right here, I suppose. Yeah, that seems like it might be okay. Are there any of these cards that we want to take? I could get the penguins because we could put a rock here, but then it breaks up our river. Not great. Instead, I don't know that we're going to get a really tall tree, but if we do, the wolves score more than the bats do. So I'll get rid of the bat card. We're just going to discard it and replace it. I don't think that I want to take any of those into my hand right now. Okay. And then we're going to reset our tokens from our bag. And again, we're going to continue until the bag runs out or we only have 2 or less open spaces. Oh my gosh, there's so much prairie happening. What do we do? Okay. Wow, and a lot of water too. So we do want to connect our river potentially. We could take the stone to start working on our fox. We could take more prairies to start hopefully scoring for our lion, which should be coming up fairly soon. I do think that at this point, if we get 4 river pieces connected, it's 8 points. I guess we can do both, right? Because there's a water here, which connects 3 of these, which is 5 points. And then we can put these 2 prairie pieces, like I said, to make another group of 3 here. Hopefully we'll have something that can score with those, but I'm not quite sure. And we do need to get some mountains eventually. Maybe we'll get these meerkats so that we can place like stone here, and that'll get us some points. And maybe we can put some down here. And then those mountains will be adjacent, which again, they need to be adjacent to at least 1 more mountain in order to score. The height doesn't matter for the adjacency, it just matters for the points, but they need to be next to another mountain. Okay, these are gonna go away, and then we'll refill our tokens here. We're really looking for mountains so that we can get our meerkats. We also need a tree, so we would need a stump. Wow, 3 buildings. We need a stump, and then we also need, oh, there we go. I think that's the one. River. So we have our stump. We have our mountain. Oh, but then, oh no. So if we don't have, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pivot a little bit. We're gonna put the stump here and build our tree for our lion there. And then we're going to put this token here so that we can get the little fox. Actually, it's better for us to do it this way because then we can go meerkat and then a fox here. This one, maybe we'll put it here to go this way since we don't have that line of 2 for the stone for the meerkat fox combo. We need this spot for the mountain. And here, this unfortunately is still only 3, so you score the shortest line, so you wouldn't be able to zigzag up for 4. So we'll put our water here to bring it up to 8 points. We do have one more spot available for an animal, but none of these animals look particularly great for us. We do have a building, so maybe we'll leave the crow just in case. Let's get rid of our fox, or our wolves here. And then, oh, we got a cute little bear. Okay, so we'll do that. And then we're going to refresh our tokens. So you can see our board is filling up pretty quickly. Part of that is that I haven't been going for a lot of trees or buildings, so that definitely changes things a bit in terms of how much space you have. So we could build a tree, but I do think we'll get more green pieces. We do need a lot of stone, so I think we're going to do that and place these 2 stone here, and then we can add on to our river for 5, which brings it to 11 points, which isn't too bad. We can place our meerkat there, and we can place one of our foxes here. The foxes are worth 4 points to start, and the meerkats are 2. That's why I want to place the fox there instead of another meerkat, which I could do. And then looking at these cards, none of them look great. I don't think I'm going to get any size 2 mountains, so we'll leave that there. And pull a new one. We got our little raccoons. And then we'll pull 9 new tokens. Okay. We're really getting down to the wire here. I don't feel very confident about not having placed our nature spirit yet, and also not really having completed a lot of animal cards. That's a little problematic, unfortunately. Oh, but the raccoon we have here. So that's pretty nice that that's already set up for us, and it's 6 points. So that's pretty good. We probably won't be able to finish it, but I'm gonna take the points where I can get them. So we'll place our 2, and I'll immediately place this one here. Let's see, we want another prairie. Do we want another river? That doesn't really help us. Prairie river stump also doesn't help us that much. We need one of those green pieces to go on top, but that other river, not great. We could put the river, I don't like it. Or do we take the stone and finish the tree and start our other mountain? Yep, I think that's what we'll do. So we're going to finish this tree of this height of 2. We'll place our little lion on the, there we go, the prairie. So this will score for prairies in addition to our other cards at the end of the game, and that opens up a slot for us again. We've already taken a card this round though, so we can't take another one. And then we have this last little grass token, which none of these cards require grass. I'm not sure really what will come up. We already had the 2 prairie and a water. What might score next to grass? Oh, and we do have another meerkat and another fennec fox. So I would like to leave space here and here for our last fox and meerkat. So maybe we'll put this just down here by the tree and we'll see what happens. And it looks like this will probably be our last round unless we can stack, but we don't really have any good stacking options. So let's see how we do. None of these are good for us, unfortunately. Let's see. Oh, I just need, oh, and of course there's no stone. Okay, so water's not great for us either. It doesn't get us any additional points. unless we get 2 water and like a prairie, but that's not what we have here. So we do probably just want to make another tree, which will score us 3 points. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. And let's put this water, we'll just put it there. And let's just make a little grove with our trees here. And again, unfortunately, we don't have any stone to place out or prairies, but it is what it is. So we're going to move on to scoring here. And let's see, we have us. So for our trees, we do have a tree of height 1, which is 1, and then 2 height 2s, which are 3 each. So that's 7 points for trees. Our mountains, we do have 2 single mountains that are adjacent in groups. And again, they have to be touching at least one other mountain. So that's 1, 2 here, 3, 4 points for mountains. For our prairies, we have 2 groups of 2 or larger. So that's 5 each for 10 points for prairies. And then for our buildings, oh, I didn't even think of that. We have 1 building and it's adjacent to water, prairie, and mountain, which means that it does score the 5 points. We need that requirement of 3 different terrain types next to it. And for our river, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our shortest route, which is 11 points. Then we're going to look at our different animals. So for the raccoons, we have 6 points. For the foxes, we have 9 points. Our meerkats are 5. And we have 16 points for our flamingos. We also have the additional scoring for our lion as well. So that's going to be 2 groups of 3 each, which are worth 10 points each. So that's 20 points there. We have 11 plus 11 is 22, 32, 37 for the terrain. And for our other points, we have 20, 36, 41, 56. Which brings our total to 93. Now for the solo game, we do have a specific unique solo scoring that we can reference. So a 93 would be 3 suns. We also use the A side, which is an additional sun because it has less space to build out. So that would be 4 suns. And we did use one of the nature spirit cards, which this spirit card is one of these little pagoda cards based on the scoring, which gives us an additional sun. So that would be a total of 5 suns for the solo mode scoring. And that brings us to the end of our game. So there you have it. That is a solo playthrough of Harmonies. I was a little skeptical about this game when it first was announced because, I mean, hello, gorgeous art, right? And the mechanics seem very straightforward. So that could go one of 2 ways. Luckily, in this case, it goes in a very positive direction where the game is super easy to teach, super easy to set up and to learn. It's a game that I think has a wide appeal to a variety of different people, whether you're just getting into the hobby or whether you're a seasoned gamer. The advanced spirit cards, the advanced side of the board, some of the interactions with the tokens in terms of verticality and blocking out certain tokens with animals makes for some really interesting puzzliness. But you can also play it very casually as well, where you're not super focused on trying to get the best scores. Maybe you have little goals like getting a certain type of animal and getting all of those out or what have you. For me personally, a game with a low barrier of entry that has a lot of opportunity for developing different strategies, for crunchiness, for variability from play to play. And I think that Harmonies manages to do that very successfully and with amazing components and beautiful art, which I have to say, my one huge complaint about this game is that the artist's name, Meva de Silva, is not on the cover of the box. Like, how? It's so stunning. Other than that, I'm overall pleasantly surprised and very happy with this game. I think that if you can find a copy, it's a great one to have in your collection as a gateway game for sure. And even if you're playing more strategically, if you want something that plays really well at pretty much all player counts, including the solo mode, Harmonies is a really great option to have. And that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you again to Noble Knight for facilitating me obtaining a copy of Harmonies so that I could share it with y'all. And thank you as always to our channel members. If you haven't subscribed already, you need to subscribe, that's free. But if you have an extra $1 laying around a month, feel free to click that join button down below as well. Thank you as always so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.